Hello and welcome to another episode of the Muddy Waters video series on YouTube. And this is a continuation of an exploration into using AI to generate ebooks and to sell for profit. And I mentioned a lot of different things that I hope you will be paying attention to. One of them I touched on was the risk of plagiarism. I got a lot of social media messages over the weekend, people saying, hey, can you show us an example? I'm going to do exactly that today. Before I do, just a quick disclaimer and review. AI writes in a very, very generic, very base level way in terms of writing skills. It's really and I'll show you an example. It's really stuff you could create as a first draft and then go in and refine. So the disclaimer is this: while there is definitely plagiarism risk, the plagiarism is very generalized content. Based on the examples I've seen thus far, I don't think it puts you at risk of civil suits, criminal suits, even people calling you out. But you should just know that AI is pulling from public domain sources all across the internet, digitized books, published articles, and if it pulls a direct quote without citing its sources, well, that's plagiarism, right? So let's take a look at what that looks like. So on your screen right now, you're seeing a scene, if you will, a section that I pulled directly and only from AI. This is not my writing. This is 100% AI's writing. And you can kind of read a little bit for yourself. I'll read it out loud, read it with me. In conclusion, it is critical for adults and senior citizens to remain diligent and informed when it comes to protecting themselves from scams in the digital age. Scammers are constantly evolving their tactics and strategies to exploit unsuspecting individuals. So it is essential to stay educated on the latest scams and how they work. Yeah, that's all true. It's also very generic. As I mentioned in an earlier video, you could do a Google search, what to watch out for in scams, and you're likely to pull up this information for free all over the place. So why would a person pay for an ebook to get what they can get for free from just doing a basic Google search? But what I did is I took this entire section and copied and pasted it into a free plagiarism check program. And I want to show you the results. So hang on one second. Let me get that queued up. Here I'm using a program called, what is it called? It's called sorry about that, paraphraser.io. And it's a free program. I think you're limited to 1,000 words or something like that, right? So I pasted that section I showed you earlier into the plagiarism check, ran a quick scan, and it found 13% of the content was directly plagiarized. Think about that. If you use AI and you don't go in and do your edits and you don't do your plagiarism checks, could it produce 13% of that entire 10,000 word book by plagiarizing? Yeah, potentially it could. That would be about, what, 1,300 words? 1,300 words potentially plagiarized. That's pretty significant. And I'm not saying that that's going to be the case in all cases, but in this particular example it was. Let's take a look a little bit more closely at some of the examples. So here's one. If something seems too good to be true or raises red flags, trust your instincts and proceed with caution. Yeah, no, that's not a direct citing of, a pundit or published article that has copyright protection or necessarily a book, but it is plagiarism, and we need to be aware of it, right? As I mentioned in the onset, AI writing is very generalized, very basic, in my opinion, low-skilled writing, something that belongs in a first draft, not a finished product. Nonetheless, this is an example, right? Let's take a look at another one. Again, not something that's likely to put you at risk of a civil or criminal suit. But stay informed, stay alert, and stay protected. Yeah, these are things probably tons of people say on the internet, but it's an example. And depending on the subject you're writing about, depending on a number of factors, yeah, the subject you're writing about, uh, many other variables, you could inadvertently be pulling in plagiarized content much more specific than this. So that's why I wanted to show you this example. It's just another thing to be aware of as you're exploring AI and ebook creation. As I mentioned in my first video, it did an excellent job creating an outline, giving me chapters. As an author, when you sit down and try to think about what's the entire construct of my book going to look like, yeah, that can take some time and some gray matter, right? And this shortcutted it for me, gave me, based on what people were searching, that's what AI produced for me. It gave me really good chapter headings and scenes to think about. And then I spent no less than 14 hours so far, and I'm not finished, but no less than 14 hours rewriting, researching, citing my sources, all those things, plagiarism checks, to make this content my own, bulletproof it from plagiarism, and especially as a nonfiction author, you have to cite your sources. So listen, if you got something from this, I hope you'll hit the thumbs up, share it to aspiring authors who may be considering using AI for ebook writing for profit. Leave me some comments, ask me some questions, and let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to cover in future sessions. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you have an excellent day.